What's up, guys? Welcome back to another What If series called What If Naruto's family and Sasuke's family traveled back in time to their Genin days, and instead of chapter I change it to part. But before we start, please leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment about your thoughts and recommendations. Chapter 1. The Unexpected Time Warp. A brilliant flash of light enveloped the Uzumaki and Uchiha families, momentarily blinding them. Naruto Uzumaki, the esteemed Hokage, blinked rapidly as the dazzling illumination faded, his cerulean eyes adjusting to the new surroundings. Beside him, his wife Hinata and their children Boruto and Himawari stood bewildered, their expressions mirroring his own confusion. Glancing to his left, Naruto's gaze fell upon the familiar Uchiha clan, Sasuke, Sakura, and their daughter Sarada. The typically stoic Sasuke wore a rare expression of bewilderment, his onyx eyes darting around the unexpected setting. "What's going on?" Boruto's voice rang out, laced with a mixture of apprehension and curiosity. The young ninja in training reached for his kunai holster, his muscles tensing as he scanned the area. Naruto placed a reassuring hand on his son's shoulder, his brow furrowed as he tried to make sense of their situation. "I'm not sure, Boruto, but we need to stay alert." The group found themselves in the heart of Konoha, the bustling streets and familiar landmarks a stark contrast to the peaceful Hokage residence they had occupied mere moments ago. Passersby shot them curious glances, their expressions ranging from confusion to outright suspicion. This isn't right," Sakura murmured, her emerald eyes wide with alarm. "Something's not right at all." Sasuke stepped forward, his keen gaze sweeping over the scene. "We've been transported, but how and to where?" As the families huddled together, a sudden commotion drew their attention. A group of Konoha ninja, clad in familiar flak jackets and headbands, approached them with cautious expressions. At their head, a young Shikamaru Nara, his hair still tied back in a spiky ponytail, stepped forward, his dark eyes narrowed. "Halt! State your business in the village." His tone was firm, betraying none of the lazy drawl that Naruto and Sasuke had grown accustomed to over the years. Naruto felt a lump form in his throat as he recognized the face of his longtime friend, now several years younger than the Shikamaru he knew. "Shikamaru, it's me, Naruto. Don't you recognize us?" The young Nara's brow furrowed, and he exchanged a questioning glance with the ninja flanking him. "Naruto, I don't know what you're playing at, but you and your group are under suspicion of infiltrating the village. Come with us." Panic began to set in as the realization dawned on the Uzumaki and Uchiha families. Somehow, they had been transported back in time to a period when their younger selves were still genin ninja, long before they had achieved the ranks and reputations they now possessed. Naruto stepped forward, his hands raised in a placating gesture. "Wait, Shikamaru, please. We're not intruders. We're from the future. Something has happened, and we need your help to figure out how to get back home." The young Nara's eyes widened slightly, his expression shifting from suspicion to confusion. "The future? What kind of nonsense is this?" Sasuke, ever the pragmatist, interjected. "Look, we don't have time to explain everything right now. But you need to believe us. We are who we say we are, and we've been transported to this time against our will." Shikamaru contemplated the group's words, his gaze sweeping over the unfamiliar faces and the clear distress etched on their expressions. After a moment, he raised his hand, signaling the other ninja to stand down. "All right, I'll take you to the Hokage. If what you're saying is true, then we need to figure out how to get you back to your own time. But I'll be keeping an eye on you, so don't try anything suspicious." Before we continue to the story, let's pause for a minute for a promotional break. The story began after when being banished from Konoha. Naruto finds himself transported to a Wuxia world where he undergoes rigorous training in ki cultivation and martial arts, ultimately mastering the legendary Dragon Fist. Returning to his village stronger and wiser, Naruto proves his worth and earns his place among his peers, embodying the lessons of resilience and growth he learned in his journey. The second What If series is What If Naruto Were a Sword Emperor, and its story began when Naruto ascends as a Sword Emperor, mastering chakra-enhanced swords and legendary techniques. His journey reflects determination, growth, and the pursuit of greatness through swordsmanship. Now let's go back to the story and make sure to check those What If series out. With a nod, Shikamaru led the way through the bustling streets of Konoha, the Uzumaki and Uchiha families trailing behind him, their hearts heavy with uncertainty. As they approached the Hokage's residence, Naruto felt a strange mixture of familiarity and trepidation. The building stood before them, its imposing presence a constant reminder of the position he had once held in his own time. But now, the title of Hokage belonged to someone else, someone he had yet to meet in this timeline. The young Nara led them into the Hokage's office, where a familiar face greeted them. Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, sat at the ornate desk, his weathered features etched with concern as he regarded the unusual group. Shikamaru, what is the meaning of this? Hiruzen's voice was measured, his piercing gaze sweeping over the strangers before him. Hokage-sama, these people claim to be from the future. They say they've been transported here against their will, and they need our help to return to their own time. Hiruzen's brow furrowed, and he studied the group intently. Naruto felt his heart race as the old Hokage's eyes settled on him, a subtle recognition flickering in their depths. Naruto Uzumaki, Hiruzen murmured, his voice tinged with a hint of disbelief. It can't be ... double quotes ... Naruto stepped forward, his expression earnest. Hokage-sama, it's me. I know this is hard to believe, but we're telling you the truth. Something has happened, and we need your help to get back to our own time. The third Hokage leaned back in his chair, a thoughtful expression etched on his face. I see. This is indeed an unprecedented situation. He glanced at Shikamaru, his gaze contemplative. Thank you, Shikamaru. You may leave us for now. The young Nara nodded and departed, casting one last wary glance over his shoulder at the visitors from the future. Hiruzen's gaze settled on the Uzumaki and Uchiha families, his brow furrowed in deep contemplation. If what you say is true, then we are facing a delicate situation. The implications of your presence here could have far-reaching consequences, both for the village and for the timeline itself. Naruto felt a wave of relief wash over him. Hokage-sama, please, you have to help us. We need to find a way back home before we inadvertently change the course of history. The old Hokage nodded solemnly. I understand your concern, Naruto. But first, I must verify your identities and the authenticity of your claims. This is no simple matter. Sakura stepped forward, her expression earnest. Hokage-sama, we understand your caution. But please, believe us when we say that we are who we say we are. Our presence here is not by choice, and we need your help to return to our own time. Hiruzen studied the group, his gaze lingering on each of their faces. After a moment, he raised his hand, silencing their pleas. Very well. I will need time to investigate this matter thoroughly. In the meantime, I must insist that you all remain within the village, under the supervision of my ANBU operatives. Naruto opened his mouth to protest, but Sasuke placed a hand on his shoulder, shaking his head. We understand, Hokage-sama. We will cooperate fully. Hiruzen nodded, his expression grave. Good. I will summon you when I have reached a decision. He paused, his gaze sweeping over the group once more. This is an unprecedented situation, and I must tread carefully. Please, make yourselves comfortable within the village boundaries. My ANBU will ensure your safety and monitor your activities." With a wave of his hand, the old Hokage dismissed them, and the Uzumaki and Uchiha families found themselves ushered out of the office by a squad of masked ninja, their hearts heavy with the weight of their unexpected predicament. As they made their way through the bustling streets of Konoha, Naruto couldn't help but feel a pang of nostalgia. The village looked exactly as he remembered it from his Genin days. The familiar sights and sounds a stark contrast to the modern Konoha he had come to know. Boruto and Sarada walked beside their parents, their expressions a mixture of awe and unease. "Dad, what's going on?" Boruto whispered, his blue eyes filled with uncertainty. Naruto placed a reassuring hand on his son's shoulder, offering him a wry smile. "I'm not sure, Boruto, but we're going to figure this out. I promise." Sasuke, ever the pragmatist, spoke up. "Naruto, we need to be cautious. Our actions here could have disastrous consequences for the timeline. We have to be careful not to interfere too much with the past." Naruto nodded, understanding the gravity of their situation. "I know, Sasuke, but we can't just sit back and let things play out. We have to find a way to get back to our own time, and we might need to rely on our past selves to do it." The group fell silent as they were led to a secure residential compound, where the ANBU guards ushered them inside, their movements efficient and wordless. Naruto couldn't help but feel a sense of unease as the heavy gates closed behind them, sealing them off from the outside world. As they settled into the accommodations provided, Naruto couldn't help but wonder what the future held for them. With the weight of the past and the uncertainty of the present weighing heavily on their minds, the Uzumaki and Uchiha families found themselves facing a challenge unlike any they had encountered before. The stage was set, and the timeless odyssey had begun. First chapter end. Before we go to the second chapter, let's pause for another promotional break. What if Naruto were teleported back in time? The story began when Naruto, a ninja from Hidden Leaf Village, is transported back in time to a different world. With determination and knowledge of future events, he navigates pivotal moments to reshape the future and protect his loved ones. Naruto, transported to the Justice League, is awed by the advanced technology and extraordinary abilities. Despite friendships with heroes like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, he aspires to return home, using his ninja training and spirit to navigate alliances and cosmic threats. Moving on to the second chapter, Chapter 2, Embracing the Role of Sensei. After the initial shock of their time-traveling predicament, Naruto and Sasuke found themselves facing an unexpected opportunity. As the adults in the group, they had been given the chance to guide their younger selves and their own children as Junin senses, a responsibility they had not anticipated, but one that held the potential to profoundly shape the future. Naruto, the ever-enthusiastic Hokage, was the first to embrace this new role. With a grin that threatened to split his face, he turned to his younger self and Boruto, his son, and declared, "All right, you two, listen up, because from now on, I'm your sensei, and I'm going to whip you into the best ninja you've ever seen." Younger Naruto, still reeling from the shock of being transported through time, stared at his future self with a mix of awe and suspicion. "Sensei, but how can you be my sensei when you're—" "Well, me?" he asked, scratching his head in confusion. Boruto, on the other hand, had a mischievous glint in his eye. "All right, old man," he teased, "let's see what you've got. I bet I can still outdo you, even with you as my sensei." Naruto let out a hearty laugh, his excitement only growing at the challenge. "Oh, you have no idea What you're in for, Boruto. I'm going to make sure you and your younger self become the best ninja the Leaf Village has ever seen. Sasuke, in contrast, was more reserved in his approach. He turned to Sarada, his daughter, and the younger version of himself, his onyx eyes carrying a rare softness. This is an unusual situation, he began, but we must make the most of it. As your sensei, I will ensure you both reach your full potential as ninja. Sarada looked up at her father, her eyes wide with a mixture of surprise and pride. Tuchin, you're really going to train us? She asked, her voice filled with wonder. Younger Sasuke eyed the adult version of himself with suspicion, his brow furrowed. How can I trust that you know what's best for me? You're just some stranger who claims to be me. Sasuke let out a sigh, understanding the younger version's skepticism. I know it's difficult to believe, but I assure you, I am you, just from the future. And as your sensei, I will push you to become stronger than you could ever imagine. The initial discussions between the adults and their younger counterparts were filled with a palpable tension, as the past and present versions of the characters struggled to find common ground. Naruto's boundless enthusiasm clashed with the younger Naruto's uncertainty, while Sasuke's stern demeanor unsettled his younger self. Boruto and Sarada, caught in the middle, could see the potential for both conflict and connection. As the group gathered to discuss their plans, Sakura and Hinata stepped forward, offering their support and wisdom. This is a unique opportunity, Sakura said, her green eyes shining with determination. We may not understand how or why this has happened, but we can use it to our advantage. Let's work together to ensure our children and our younger selves reach their full potential. Hinata nodded in agreement, her gentle voice soothing the rising tensions. Naruto-kun, Sasuke-kun, we know you both have strong personalities, but we also know you care deeply for your families. This chance to guide and train our children, as well as our younger selves, is a gift. Let's embrace it and show our children the true meaning of unity and strength. Naruto and Sasuke exchanged a long look, the weight of their responsibilities as senses and as parents settling upon their shoulders. They had been given a chance to shape the future, to guide their loved ones in ways they had never imagined. With a silent nod, they knew they had to set aside their differences and work together. All right, team, Naruto announced, his voice filled with a newfound sense of purpose. It's time to get started. Boruto, Sarada, younger Naruto, younger Sasuke, we're going to whip you into shape like you've never seen before. Believe it, Sasuke couldn't help but roll his eyes at Naruto's trademark catchphrase, but a small smile tugged at the corner of his lips. Let's begin with a mission, he said, his voice commanding attention. We'll start with something simple, to test your skills and see where you need the most work. The young ninja, both present and past, straightened their postures, their eyes filled with a mix of excitement and trepidation. They knew that the road ahead would not be easy, but the chance to train under the guidance of their future selves was too tempting to pass up. As the team set out on their first mission, the air was thick with anticipation. Boruto and Sarada exchanged a determined glance, ready to prove themselves worthy of their parents' tutelage. The younger Naruto and Sasuke, despite their initial doubts, couldn't help but feel a spark of curiosity about the adults who claimed to be them. The mission, a standard escort task, took the teams to the outskirts of the village, where they would be tasked with protecting a caravan of merchants. As they journeyed through the familiar, yet unfamiliar, landscape, the dynamics between the adult and young characters began to take shape. Naruto, brimming with energy, took the lead, offering constant encouragement and advice to his younger self and Boruto. All right, you two, remember, always keep your eyes peeled for any signs of danger. One wrong move could cost the mission and your lives. Younger Naruto his brow furrowed in concentration, nodded vigorously. "Don't worry, Sensei, I've got this. I'm going to be the greatest Hokage, believe it." Boruto, on the other hand, couldn't resist a playful jab. "Wow, Dad, you were just as loud and obnoxious back then, huh?" He teased, earning a good-natured scowl from his father. Sasuke, true to his nature, maintained a stoic demeanor as he guided Sarada and his younger self. "Stay focused," he instructed, his gaze sweeping the terrain for any potential threats. "Complacency can be just as dangerous as an enemy." Sarada nodded, her eyes filled with determination. "Hi, Two-chan. I'll make you proud, I promise." Younger Sasuke observed his future self with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism, his mind racing with questions he dared not voice. As the mission progressed, the teams faced unexpected challenges, forcing them to work together in ways they had never done before. A sudden ambush by a group of rogue ninja tested their skills and their ability to think on their feet. Naruto and Sasuke, their long-standing rivalry momentarily forgotten, sprang into action, their movements fluid and coordinated as they protected the caravan. Boruto and Sarada, eager to prove themselves, fought alongside their younger counterparts, their techniques complementing each other in ways that surprised even the adults. Younger Naruto and Sasuke, initially hesitant, soon found themselves drawn into the fray, their competitive spirits ignited as they vied to outdo their future selves. The clash of kunai and the roar of jutsu filled the air as the two teams worked in tandem to fend off the attackers. In the heat of battle, the adults and children found themselves forging unexpected bonds. Naruto marveled at the raw potential of his younger self, while Sasuke couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in watching Sarada's skills develop. The younger versions, in turn, began to see their future selves in a new light, recognizing the wisdom and experience they possessed. As the mission came to a successful conclusion, the teams regrouped, their clothes tattered and their bodies weary, but their spirits high. Naruto and Sasuke exchanged a look of mutual understanding, their rivalry momentarily set aside in favor of a shared sense of accomplishment. "Not bad, for a bunch of kids," Naruto chuckled, ruffling Boruto's hair affectionately. Boruto beamed, his chest swelling with pride. "Told you I could keep up, old man. Just wait until the next mission." Sasuke nodded, his gaze sweeping over the group. "You all performed well, but there is still much to learn. Tomorrow, we begin your real training." The young ninjas, both present and past, straightened their postures, their eyes shining with anticipation. They knew that the road ahead would be filled with challenges, but the chance to learn from their future selves was a privilege they couldn't pass up. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the village, the Uzumaki and Uchiha families made their way back to their temporary quarters, their footsteps in sync with the rhythm of their newfound purpose. The first step of their timeless ninja odyssey had been taken, and the future, once uncertain, now held the promise of greatness. Part 1 ends here. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Peace out.